Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I'm very excited to be here for another day, for another opportunity to come and speak to y'all with UTM Horizons. So, for those who are joining in, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're from, thank you so much for being here and listening to the work that we're doing here at Universal Tech Movement. I'm excited because we have MiKayla Chinn, which is one of our volunteers that'll be diving deep into her journey across the tech space. But before we bring MiKayla here, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all a little bit about Universal Tech Movement for those who may be joining for the first time. So I am Michael Ward Jr. I'm the president and CEO here at Universal Tech Movement, and we're all about getting people inside the tech space. So our mission is connecting communities to the tech industry, and we do that through workforce readiness, innovation, and equity. So if you have not heard about Universal Tech Movement, please get plugged in. Please reach out to us. You can come to our website online. You can reach out through us via email, give us a phone call, or engage us on social media because we're all about connecting you, your communities to the tech industry from large to small. So for those who may not know much about the tech industry as a whole, one of the main gaps that we look at is the workforce. We look at those that have the skills, have the experience in order to fill the necessary jobs that we're seeing across the space. However, despite all the advancement, all the experiences, all the initiatives that are being pushed out, we still see there's a lack of representation from the global majority represented inside the tech space. This is huge because one, the jobs are going unfilled, but the two, we're not providing individuals with the right resources, with the right skills in order to really spur innovation. So one of the main things that we do here at UTM is to spur innovation. And we do that around the workforce readiness and around economic advancement. So the more resources we share with individuals, the more resources we provide communities, we'll be able to connect more and more individuals to the tech space and really start to see us problem solve, think a little differently about how we move in a day to day and really move forward with innovation. So I'm definitely excited for the work that we do at Universal Tech Movement to not only increase the representation of Blacks and Hispanics inside the tech space, really connect individuals to opportunities and plug in any gaps that we see across the tech ecosystem as a whole. So now I'm gonna stop talking. I know y'all did not come here to know just about me, but I'm gonna bring up MiKayla Chinn to really introduce herself, share how she got started as a software engineer, actually how she got started in tech, right, and what happened in her navigation, her pathways. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up MiKayla Chinn. So MiKayla Chinn, are you here? Are you in the building?
I'm here. I'm in the building.
Oh, well, hello, MiKayla. How are you doing today? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy that God woke me up today. So I got no complaints because I know that things can always be worse. so
Y-
so I am a-okay with how things are going on my side. I'm very happy that you took the time on your day to be here to share your journey, to talk at UTM Horizons and really connect with those who are watching live, for those who'll be watching later, and for those who'll be engaging with us, this month, but also the rest of the year. So thank you so much for your time and you being here, MiKayla.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Excited to share my journey.
Love it, love it. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna be navigating for you. So whenever you need me to go to the next slide, let me know. But MiKayla, I hand it off to you to introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is MiKayla Chinn. I currently work for General Motors as a software engineer. A little fun fact that I found is that the first computer virus was developed in 1971. It was named the Creeper. So it was created as an experiment to see how viruses could spread between computers. It had no malicious intent. It would just display a message on the screen. I'm the creeper. Catch me if you can. So I thought that was a pretty cool fun fact. And then as it jumped from computer to computer, it would try to remove itself from the previous host. So next slide, please. All right. So a little bit about my background. I went to Brescia University. It's a small private Catholic university out in Kentucky. I was a bachelor. Well, I graduated with a bachelor's of computer science, but I actually started as a biology major with an emphasis in pre-physical therapy. So I ended up actually failing one of my first courses. It was like a biology lab. And so after that, I decided I didn't want to retake that course and kind of switched gears and moved into computer science.
So was that one biology class that made you transition to a whole new pathway?
Yeah, exactly. I really did not wanna retake that, course. I think it was you had to do, like, a basically a science experiment and go through and write a huge paper, so I just I didn't wanna redo it, and I had interest in computers at the time, so it worked out.
I have a very similar story because when I was starting my undergrad, I wanted to be an accountant. So I went to my first accounting class. I walked in. I remember sitting there for maybe 10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And I walked back out. So I definitely understand, having one class and kind of making a pivot and making a change. So no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, um, so kind of how I started off was, let me see here. I did an internship with Metronet. So think of like AT&T, where they have phone, internet, and TV. It was a company like that. They were only did fiber optic cables. So what I did for them, I worked in their tech support, and got to interact with customers. Did a little bit of. They had like a wiki page that was used by those tech support agents to kind of have a guide to go through and troubleshoot. So I did a little bit on their wiki page. It was for a summer while I was still in college. Um, and then right after I graduated, um, I started with General Motors, like the exact same summer in 21. I started in June, and I started off as a software test engineer. So my focus was really on um, debugging and manual and automation testing, different applications within GM, just ensuring that the user experience was always intact and finding bugs and giving those to our software engineers to resolve. And so I did that for about a year, a little over a year. And then I moved into a new role, automation engineer, which was just focused on automation. Didn't really have to manually validate too much, but still helped out here and there. Did that for about a little over a year as well. And then that's when I moved into my software engineering role that I'm currently in. Um, and I've been in this role for about a year now. Um, and I can dive deeper into what I currently do.
So, a question for you. So, what was that
Mhm.
transition like just going from an internship at Metronet over to General Motors?
So it was really different for me just because the internship wasn't really tech focused necessarily. Like I wasn't doing any coding or anything like that. I was just interacting with customers, doing troubleshooting and diagnostics. I did get to do a little bit of networking, just watching. They have like their business tier that was more heavily involved in the networking side. So it was I had the opportunity to start off as a software engineer, but I didn't feel like I had enough experience. So I thought going the software test engineer route gave me kind of more time to develop my skills and learn from the other engineers on the team, as well as getting to know the applications I work with to be able to contribute code wise. So.
And then when you think about your time at General Motors, and I know you're going to get to that on your next slide, what was that transition like going from one team to another as you navigate, your promotions and different teams, different environments? What was that like for in your journey?
Yeah, so the teams I worked with luckily were very welcoming. If I had any questions, they were always there to help and kind of guide me and do one-on-one sessions with me. So the transition was easier than what I expected. And it's everyone was just there to learn and help out. So they made it really smooth to move from team to team. Yeah. Yeah, so a little bit about what I currently do in my role. So I currently work with this team called Notification Platforms. We help onboard and manage customer notifications for our internal teams. So think emails that go out as text messages, and also notifications through the mobile app. We uh, manage and control some of those as well. We do that through different APIs, messaging tools such as Kafka, as well as we're building a new UI currently. So really just a full stack team. But what we've previously done is a lot of back end work. So what I like about my current team is that again everyone's helpful. There's a lot of team collaboration, a lot of learning opportunities, and just everyone's open and willing to help out. Um, if you fall behind in your work, they're willing to help you pick up whatever task you weren't able to complete. So it's just like a good culture, good environment on that team. So.
And what has been one of the most, I guess, surprising aspects of the work that you do and the team environment that you have?
Yeah, so, previous teams I've been on weren't so heavily based in, like, the messaging tools in Kafka, so
Mhm.
that was, like, a big learning curve for me, figuring out how to interact with Kafka, dropping messages on the queue, being able to, help other teams test their workflow and make sure everything's working well. So that was like a big learning curve for me. Um, but like I said, the team was helpful and they gave me the tools. I was able to find some internal trainings to go through. So yeah. Okay, time travel. If I could go back. So one thing that kind of I guess not harmed, but I guess one thing that wasn't helpful for me was that the university I attended, they didn't have a dedicated computer science professor. So being that I started off as a biology major, that wasn't something that I necessarily looked into. So we had a lot of adjunct professors, and I think our math professor was over the computer science department. He was an older guy. Wasn't really too much into tech, so a lot of what he taught was theoretical, and I didn't get a lot of hands-on experience. So I probably would have chosen a different university. But after and during college, I found a lot of resources to continue that learning and be able to kind of catch up to speed to where I thought other engineers would be that were around, my level of experience, and things such as I think it's like free code camp, different websites, YouTube, and there's also some internal tools at GM that I'm able to use to continue my learning. So.
So then how much of that time did you take, learning new tools throughout your pathway versus like what you do now? Like, are you still also engaging into new learning, new development opportunities now, or were you doing more so of that, early in your career?
I would say more so earlier on in my career. Um, and then especially when I made the switch from like automation test engineer to software engineering, because the team that was on when I made that switch was a team that worked with multitudes of different teams. And so there was a lot of opportunities to build proof of concepts and different things. So you really kind of had to know a little bit of everything. So I really especially took a lot of learning opportunities at that time when I made that transition, and then mainly while I was still in school. Okay. So some of my hobbies, hiking. I would say it's more of just fancy walking with good views. But I do love to hike, roller skating, spending time with family and friends, and I also love to travel. One of the, I guess, most fun places I've been was to Spain. I got to go to Barcelona and Madrid for a couple weeks, so that was really cool to experience. Um, okay, pro tips. So I think one thing whenever you're early on in your career, and honestly just throughout, is just to continue networking, and then get mentorships, like meet people and ask them to be your mentor, especially if it's a role you're interested in and they're already in that role, or just someone who has more experience than you and can kind of guide you through your early career pathway. um, since we're in tech, things are always changing and new developments come along, new ways to do things. So always continue to learn. Always, whether it's going to conferences, right, doing research on your own, just always try to learn something new once a week, once a month, whatever it may be. Um, ask questions, especially early on in your career, right? You're coming in, you probably don't know much. Um, you may think that they'll be annoyed, but really, um, a lot of people love to talk about what they do and what they work on, and how you can help. So ask those questions about the team, the company, the product, whatever you're working on. And then don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that, like me being kind of like an introvert, I don't really like to talk. That was one thing I struggled with is I would kind of like suffer in silence if I didn't really know anything, um, and or if I didn't just know how to ask like certain questions about things, I would kind of just suffer on my own and try and go and figure things out. But don't be afraid to ask for that help. Like I said, my team has been very helpful. They don't care how many questions I ask. They're always there to help. So yeah. And then seek feedback, whether this be from your boss, right? But I think what really does it for me for the feedback is like my teammates. We have a platform within GM where we can ask our you can ask whoever to submit feedback on you, and it's pre-selected questions of like what are your strengths, what areas can you grow in. So just using that to kind of guide you on what steps you need to take next in your career.
Mhm, mhm. So as you think about your career now, right, and the things that you got going on, let's say for 2026, or even thinking about 2027, the next 3 to 5 years, what are some things that you're leaning in that you're using right now to navigate your tech journey, Michaela?
Yeah, so definitely that feedback, definitely those mentorships that have given me tips on how to move forward in my career. One thing I'm talking with now with my boss is like, what are my next steps? Like, what career paths or what career journeys I can take next, whether that be trying to go for a senior position in software engineering or even making a jump to cybersecurity, since that's something that I find interesting. So, yeah, just using that feedback, and continuing to learn and see where I want to go next.
Mhm. And I know that there are a lot of people right now that may be looking to navigate, to either move up inside the tech space, create their own entity inside the tech industry, or decide to go into the tech industry, tech company department like more directly. So then what would you say, from your perspective, given your vantage point inside the tech space, what is the most difficult part about navigating the tech industry? Is it just networking, right? Just knowing the right people? Would you say is having the right skills, the right experience? What would you say is the most difficult piece of navigating the industry?
Yes, I think it's a little bit of both. But I think there's always more tech opportunities that come along. But definitely don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to continue learning and growing, even if this might be, but even if you only know something a little bit about it, just putting it on your resume, you can always learn more and grow with that skill.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
mm, mm. I like what you said there, Michaela, that you can always learn more and grow, right? That is so true. I think sometimes we think that we have to have all the answers, directly as soon as we start, versus giving
Mhm.
ourselves some time to really, show what we do know, and then from there, grow and work and expand, right? Because you can't know everything all the time, but you can definitely show what you do know very well, what you're learning, and what you're still tinkering on. So I love that. Love that. Michaela, we do have one question here I'm going to bring up. So
Mhm.
nice conversation so far, MiKayla Chinn. what is or are your next steps in the field of software engineering, considering the increasing number of software engineers, the downsizing in the sector, as well as the role of AI in tech?
Yeah. So my next steps in the software engineering field um, is to try and go for kind of like a lead role, or we have like higher up individual contributors where you really get to expand out and kind of pick your own projects that you work on. Um, as far as AI playing a part, so GM especially is really pushing for us to use AI just to accelerate our throughput, right? Being able to push out new features to customers, um, kind of get rid of those repetitive tasks that we do manually. So I've had people ask me like, "Do you think AI will take your job?" No, I think it's just another tool to put in your toolbox and to help you kind of navigate and grow and be able to accelerate and move faster in the industry. I've definitely seen the effects of downsizing in software engineering. I've seen the layoffs. I've seen, companies take hits. Um, but that also means that there's other areas that are growing, whether it just be like things that you wouldn't expect to have kind of that tech space. Don't be afraid to branch out and just don't always go for the tech companies. You can go for automotive, manufacturing, different things. So there's always roles for software engineers and developers.
So, MiKayla, so given your perspective, and I know that every company is different, but at least at General Motors, so have you seen an increase in hiring? Have you seen a kind of like stabilizing where they haven't done much right now because of the transition? Like, what have you seen in General Motors or in the automation, right? Well, in automation and in automobiles, right? What have you seen inside that specific sector when it comes down to technology advancement, people navigating the industry as a whole?
Yeah, so I think it comes in waves. I think whenever I was hired, which was about a little less than 5 years ago, my onboarding class was about 1,000 people. And so as the years go on, I've definitely seen the continuing of hiring people. But like I said, I've also seen the downsizing, and um, we've gotten rid of whole tech centers within the US. So it kind of just it varies. But I think for the most part, it's been kind of at a steady pace, and some spurts of climbing of hiring.
Mhm, 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 mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As I think about the different companies we work with, the different companies we talk to, right? Some are saying yes, we're revamping, we're hiring everything back up. Others are saying, hey, we're taking more of an internal assessment and kind of figuring out what we want to do next, right? And others are saying, hey, we have no idea what we want to do. We're not even planning on it yet, right? We just downsize and that's pretty much it. And some people are still trying to maintain. So yeah, it's always good to see and hear what others are doing inside the space, and especially to be able to share that with other people and how they want to navigate. So I do have another question here. So we have that previous question was from Ikinwande. So Ikinwande, thank you so much for that previous question. Now I have a question from Acid Rock. What do you do to get experience? Because I volunteered, but then employers are unwilling to count that.
Really? Okay. Um, hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say volunteer, but if they're not willing to count that, I would say, um, try and build projects. Like if you're going into software engineer, try and build your own projects, like using your GitHub and post those links. Internships, if you can get something, maybe just for a couple months, or contract work. I've seen uh I forget what the app is called, but there's different apps where you can sign on to do 1 to 2 months with a small business or a small company, to help them out with, building something that they're working on, or revamping what they already have. So just try to do, like, small projects or, contract work, to kinda build that experience.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that, and I would echo that as well. Well, first I'll say if an employer is not accepting volunteer experience, then I would ask them directly what experience they're looking for, right? Because you should be able to leverage the volunteer experience as an experience for that, especially if it's skills based what they're looking for, right? Or even
Mhm.
experience. If you can prove that you can do that job or do that work, when that's to be sufficient, regardless of how you gain the experience, right? So that's my general comment. Second to MiKayla's point, build your own portfolio, right? We mentioned, and I'll drop this little nugget here. Someone said yes to free code camp and the Odin project. GitHub also has a lot of free repos that you can leverage. So I would definitely say to build that out, right? Build out your portfolio, build out the projects you're working on. If you can find a project you do like, well, then create your own, right? Reach out to UTM. Maybe we could definitely get you on projects. Trust me, we have an endless list of projects that we could get you working on. So you could go down that route. And then the last thing I was going to say was, escape my train of thought. Uh, but the last thing was if you can't build a project, you can't work on a project, you can't find volunteer opportunities, then I would say then get an internship. That'll kind of be the next pathway or in to get connected to. And through an internship, it's really the same thing as a volunteer role, right? Only difference is that sometimes an internship is paid, right? And sometimes the internship can be for less experience, right? Normally a volunteer would have more experience than someone who's an intern, but it's not always the case. So you can leverage a volunteer, leverage an internship, leverage a project, and have that be your full resume that you can share with somebody, right? So combine that on your resume, combine that on your LinkedIn, put that on your GitHub profile. And now when you go to an employer, oh, you have a list of things that you can show, right? You want to see my website? Here you go. You want to see my product portfolio? Here you go. You want to see my LinkedIn resume? Here you go. Want to see all the projects I worked on with volunteers, right? Here you go, right? You could begin to really showcase what you're looking for, but it does go back to what exactly is that an employer looking for? Because not every employer is the same, right? Not every employer is the same. And then we have someone here said Fiverr. Yeah, definitely do some work on Fiverr. That's a good platform to leverage. You can reach out to, depending on your city or your community or where you are. There should be local projects that you can tap into as well. So reach out to organizations, see what's happening inside the space, and then you could go from there. So love it, love it. Well, thank y'all for the questions. Please, have them come. We have a little bit more time before we close out. So if you do have any more questions for MiKayla, then please drop them inside so we can go ahead and get those addressed. But MiKayla, let me bring back up your presentation and make sure there's anything else that you wanted to address. Any other pro tips? Any other pro tips?
I don't think so. I guess one little thing is just if you're newer in the industry or don't have that much experience, I would ditto what you said about the internships. They're a lot more willing and flexible to um, give people with little to no experience, but have the education background or have taken courses, certifications. And then also try I did the early career application for General Motors. They typically, when I was applying, they were looking for that 4-year college degree and you're just about to graduate. But some other companies might go for like the certifications or whatever, and you can get in that way.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. So I hear that there's many different ways to get into the tech space, many different ways to move up across the industry. And if you are already in tech and you're looking to do your own thing, then definitely reach out to us and let's do it together. But MiKayla, I want to thank you for your time because you were fantastic. We loved it. I hope those online watched it and loved it as well. And then those that would tune in later was able to see and hear the content as well. So MiKayla, I will let you go and let me go ahead and jump to the next slide. But actually, before I'll let you say farewell, say bye to everybody, MiKayla.
Thank you all for watching and those who will watch afterwards. Yeah, thank you for having me, Michael.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you, MiKayla. So if you also want to share your journey inside the tech space, please reach out to contact@jordanutm.org. We would love to feature you, allow you to share how you got started, why'd you stayed, what worked, what didn't work, what you like to do, what do you want to do? Because the tech industry is so diverse, it's so different, and there's so many different ways for people to share their passions. And that's what we do here at Universal Tech Movement. We connect you to what you're passionate about. We help you get plugged inside the tech space and really expand your overall network and your ecosystem. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Let me go ahead and actually drop some QR codes for you. So in the top right corner, if you so feel inclined, we would love for you to donate and support the work that we do here at Universal Tech Movement. We are a 501c3 ed tech company. That means all the service that we provide is no cost to the end user. We cover all of our costs through our revenue streams, such as donations. So you can scan the QR code, it'll take you direct to our website to go ahead and process those donations. But we also want to invite you to our upcoming events. So in the QR code, I just switched it. You can scan that and it will take you to our website. You can see the different events that we have up and coming. We do events all throughout the year. So if you are unable to come in person, no worries. We do events like this virtual. If you are able to come in person, come out. We would love to see you. Our next event will be our Black History Month Hangover. That'll be a great networking event, and we would love to see you all inside the audience and coming and checking out with us, right, and doing the things that we do well. So please donate. You can support the work that we do. You can scan this QR code, and you can see all the work that we do here at Universal Tech Movement. So I thank you for joining here today. And then the last slide I have is a farewell. So you have our social media handles right there. We're at Jordan UTM. So whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you can find us at Jordan UTM. And then our website is www.jordanutm.org. Thank y'all. Look forward to seeing y'all next time. Have a good one, y'all.